I will now make some personal remarks, and I want to just mention I'm very grateful to all of the participants in this webinar. We have created, my colleague and I, Hussein Askari, the vice chairman of the Belt and Road, a uh, a group of Europeans for the Belt and Road initiative, of which the majority, well, almost all of the speakers, I think all of the speakers are actively participants of. Uh, so with that perspective, I'm very happy that we have a broad number of European nations that are represented in this idea of how we can continue to promote the Belt and Road Initiative as a bridge for global cooperation. And Therefore, I will begin my remarks, which I hope will be appreciated by all, although there are certain, maybe perhaps somewhat controversial aspects to what I say, but I nonetheless think it will be important. So I will begin now. The significant context for this webinar is the absolutely dramatic and rapid changes that the world is presently undergoing. These kinds of dramatic transformations in world history occur rather or even extremely infrequently, yet they provide a gateway for humanity to realize and achieve new relationships founded upon the principle of the common good, or as one can say from the standpoint of Chinese President Xi Jinping, humanity finds itself in one boat. That's the challenge, to actually embrace the unification of all human interests in this period rather than maintain a geopolitical conflict orientation. This is the perspective that the BRIX, the Belt and Road Institute in Sweden, understands and supports the Belt and Road Initiative and its additional adjuncts of the Global Development Initiative, the Global Security Initiative, and the Global Civilization Initiative, which were perspectives that President Xi Jinping articulated in elaborating the initial Belt and Road Initiative from when it was launched in 2013. I personally see the Belt and Road Initiative as a global development policy. It embraces an entirely beyond the physical, infrastructural, and economic benefits, which are clear for those who study it and evaluate it properly. It embraces an entirely new direction for world civilization. Yeah, I have personally emphasized in interviews and speeches that I believe the BRI emerges out of a very long and profound history of Chinese civilization of over 5,000 years. It includes the profound sages of Chinese long history, such as Lao Tzu, Confucius, Mencius, and the wisdom that is embedded in the Yi Jing. The fact is that during many times in centuries, China has been the most advanced civilization on the planet. But the intention of Chinese civilization is not, nor has it been, to dominate others. Rather, it embraces the thinking of its great sage that the fundamental nature of human beings is essentially good. In light of this long history, the Belt and Road is a vehicle for global friendship, or even more so, the greater objective of what has been referred to as agape, that is, a true love of humanity as a whole. So Europe is now at a crossroads. What kind of policy orientation will Europe follow? It is a huge question, but even the significance of this dramatic historic in the context of this dramatic historical period. I will mention a European thinker from a previous period in European and world history, the German poet, philosopher, and playwright Friedrich Schiller. Schiller wrote an essay entitled, "To What End and Why Should We Study Universal History?" It was written during a very turbulent period of European history, not so different from that which we are experiencing today. It was during the time just after the American Revolution and just before the French Revolution, whereby great struggles for establishing free republics, free from imperial domination, was the order of the time. It had succeeded to a great extent in the founding of the United States, but failed horribly in Europe when the bloodbath of the French Revolution destroyed the hope of many great thinkers of that time and plunged Europe into deep pessimism. Schiller's essay makes the essential point of the difference between what he calls philosophical thinkers and what he also refers to as bread scholars, or I use the term careerists. A philosophical thinker is able to recognize and respond to great changes with a deep thought process oriented towards transforming reality and truth seeking, whereas a careerist can only defend and maintain existing formalisms, knowledge determined solely by limited self-interest. Schiller's point is true universal world history is shaped by creative thinkers, that is, philosophical minds, not by business as usual routine professionals, that is, mindless politicians. That the distinction for Schiller would determine the success or the failure of society or civilization's transformation, and will do so especially in these unique times. Unfortunately, at the moment, the EU functions as a grand old bureaucratic structure of careerists with generally no creative philosophical thinking allowed that steps outside their given pre-established agenda. It is dominated by careerists, which even U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance correctly identified in his speech at the Munich Security Conference as an internal problem of their own making, failing to allow true democratic dialogue and debate has blinded the EU thinking, which instead of truthful internal reflection has simply projected its problems towards security threats directed against Russia and China. This is a leading policy decision in a very dangerous direction that is pointing towards rearmament and militarism and ignoring the universal benefits of understanding and cooperating with the Belt and Road Initiative. Therefore, I am not at the least bit surprised by China's President Xi Jinping's decision to decline an invitation to visit Brussels for a summit to mark the 50th anniversary of the EU summit diplomatic ties. Arrogance and short-sightedness do not build friendship. That is the challenge of what choices are going to be made. The solution lies in a different direction. Thinking individuals like our friends in the Europeans for the Belt and Road Initiative can provide the sorely needed leadership or help to find like-minded citizens in respective independent sovereign nation states that will provide the political leadership based on true philosophical minds in the sense as Schiller actually had proposed in his time. To choose cooperation with the Belt and Road Initiative rather than a new build-up, rearmament, and militarization. It may be the road less traveled by to choose cooperation just now, but in these dramatically changing times, in the end, it will make all the difference. And I conclude with a short segment of the poet from the American poet Robert Frost, in which he wrote, "The Road Not Taken." I shall be telling, quote, I shall be telling this with a sigh. Somewhere, ages and ages hence, two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. Thank you so much.